Hey, my friends. My name is Barb Brimhall. I'm also known as the Busy Bee Stamper because I'm always in a hurry. And today I have a fun Step It Up stamping video for you that features the Textured Notes stamp set. Actually, the bundle. I'm using both. So we start off with a really super simple card. That's called the Busy Bee card because sometimes you just need a card in a hurry. Or if you're a beginner stamper, it is a great place to start. They're easy, they're fast. You can usually make them in under 5 minutes. Although if you're a beginner, it might take you a wee bit longer because sometimes just cutting the cardstock takes a little bit longer. And then we're going to step it up. And I call that the worker bee card because that card takes just a little bit more work or a little bit more product, but it's still not super difficult. But then we go all the way up to what I call the queen bee card. And that's the card for those of you that like to really spend your card time making something special. And so that's what the queen bee card is. Although I will admit, today's queen bee card is actually pretty simple. So I kind of have a busy bee, worker bee plus card. I'm going to call it a queen bee card, but it's not as difficult as some of the queen bee cards are that I do. So let's get started. I am going to move my camera over, so give me just 1 second. Okay, first up, we have the Busy Bee card. Super simple card in one of my personal favorite color combinations. I personally think that this would be a fabulous thank you card for all the men in your life. Some of you may disagree with me, but I do think this is a great card for men. So I'm using a crumb cake base card. And then on a white mat, I'm using Lost Lagoon ink. And this is actually, the stamp is about this long. So I stamped it here first, and then I stamped below it just to give it some length and add into the white space here. And then I used Pretty Peacock cardstock because I think Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon are just an absolutely gorgeous color combination. And then I stamped the thank you in Lost Lagoon, same color as the leaves. Just a super simple, but I think really pretty card. And you'll notice all the shading already done for you on that leaf. Even if you are a brand new stamper, this is definitely a 5 minute or less card. You're stamping 1, 2, 3 times, cutting your cardstock, you're done. Super simple. Okay, so now let's bring in the worker bee card, which takes just a little bit more work, but not a lot of extra work. And this is a fun fold card. It's a very simple fun fold card. Normally you would call this a gatefold card, but normally in the gatefold cards, they come together in the center. This one I have a 1 1/4. Excuse me. There go my allergies. I'm sorry. I believe it's a 1 1/4 score fold, but you know what, guys, it's on the instructions, so you can get all of this on the instructions, because right at the moment I can't remember what I scored this at. And then I just took 2 pieces of basic white cardstock, and this time, instead of stamping the leaf full strength, I inked up the stamp, stamped it off on my scratch paper, and then stamped it onto the white cardstock. I kind of made my own designer paper. Isn't that pretty, though? That color is so pretty. And then what I did is I cut a piece again of Pretty Peacock, but this time for the ink, I used Lost Lagoon again, but I also brought in the crumb cake. But if I stamped this basket weave looking stamp, if I stamped that, this is a very nature stamp set, which is why I think it works really well for men. But when I stamped it full strength, it was too much. So I inked it up just like I did the leaves. I inked it up in crumb cake, stamped it off once on my scratch paper, and then stamped it on the paper. And you could even stamp off twice, honestly. But once was enough for me because, to be totally honest, my crumb cake ink pad needs a little bit more ink refill on it. So it worked with me only stamping it off once. But isn't that fun? It's just a fun fold that's very, very easy. And keeping with that theme, here is our Queen Bee card. Very simple. Honestly, the only difficult thing about this, and it wasn't difficult at all, is I use the textured notes dies that comes with this bundle. And if you are new to Stampin' Up, when you buy a bundle, it includes the stamp set, and then it also includes the coordinating dies. So I was able to die cut this background, and this background. However, these dies do not include the images. They just include a lot of rectangles and squares you can use, which are absolutely beautiful. Look at the design on these guys. Aren't they gorgeous? I love these dies. Love, love, love them. If you don't like the stamp set, I would still get the dies and just buy the dies separately because you can use them in all sorts of card designs. So again, Lost Lagoon. Again, Lost Lagoon. Now I brought crumb cake in here for the sentiment. And can you see the pretty peacock? I'm going to hold this up. This is the pretty peacock cardstock. This is Lost Lagoon on the belly band. And I brought in pretty peacock ink and stamped pretty peacock ink onto the pretty peacock cardstock because I wanted those leaves, which are the leaves I used here. I wanted those leaves to really pop out at you. But if you only have Lost Lagoon ink, you can use that. It just won't be as definitive on this cardstock, okay? And then what makes this card so fun is I did a belly band. I don't know why we call this a belly band. I'm going to be real honest, and I want to show you the inside because I just stamped the leaves in Pretty Peacock on the inside. Super simple. Like I said, I'm not quite sure why we call this a belly band, but I think it's because it's like a belt. But wouldn't you call that a belt band? I don't know. Anyway, crafters call it a belly band. After 30 years, that's what I finally learned. And there is a stamp in this set that I just love. And it's called A Little Note of Appreciation. That's the actual sentiment stamp. This is Lost Lagoon cardstock, and I stamped it in Pretty Peacock ink so that you could really see it. I also did crumb cake with the little basket weave. I don't know that I would bother doing that again because you can't really see it, but you could if you want to. And then what I did is I took this 2-inch strip of paper and I folded it over the card. I didn't even measure it. I just folded it over the card so that the card would be shut. And then I put glue, pretend this isn't here. The glue is right behind that, and I glued the two together. And then I covered up where they're joined with this. So just make sure that when you're gluing this piece and actually the leaf, when you're gluing those down onto the crumb cake die cut, make sure that you're only putting glue here, or else you're going to totally close your card shut, right? And then also you want to make sure that you're not putting glue where it could glue down accidentally here on your card. So super simple. I'm going to try to hold this up to you. I want you to look right here. Can you see the hexagon shape? I don't know that you can. These are brand new. They actually are not out yet. They won't be available until May 6th, depending on when you see this. It may already be out. But on May 6th, these will come out in the new annual catalog. I'm sorry. They are called the Shades of Green Hexagons, and they're actually part of our Turtley Awesome stamp set, which features turtles. And so they kind of coordinate with the embossing folder that comes in that suite. But I loved them on this card, so I used them. Aren't they a fun shape and color? So, so, so pretty. So again, this is the inside of the Queen Bee card. And this set, the Textured Notes stamp set and dies, so the bundle, is I can't do that from the front. I got to do it from the side so I can see where I'm going. And you want your belly band to be fairly tight, but not so tight that you can't get it back on the card so somebody can open it. This bundle, the Textured Notes bundle, is actually available now. It is an online exclusive stamp set that came out in March. Now we have additional online exclusive stamp sets and dies and papers and all sorts of things coming out in May, on May 6th at the same time as the annual catalog. But, and again, depending on when you're seeing this, they'll probably all be out. So we have the Busy Bee card. I love this card. If it's too simple for you, it's not too simple for me, but if it's too simple for you, you could emboss the background and just add a little bit more depth to it. The other thing you could do if you don't have a cut and emboss machine is after you stamp it, take your hands and crumple up the paper. You're going to have a lot more strength in your hands than I do. Let me pull my Post-it note off here. So you'll just take it in your hands and you'll just see, this really hurts my hands. And this is really thin paper, but just crumple it in your hands. And then you're going to get that really nice crumpled look. That's why you want to stamp first, then crumple, and then just lay it down. And it'll give you that nice depth that an embossing folder would. And then this is, again, another super easy card. And then we've got our Queen Bee card, which this week, my friends, is pretty darn simple. This is not a difficult card at all. I would say the only difficult thing about this card is fussy cutting out the leaves with your scissors. That's it. Everything else is super simple. So there you have it. If you are watching this on my Facebook page, please make sure that you comment below and let me know which is your favorite and which one you would be most likely to make. That helps guide me as I move forward in doing Step It Up stamping projects when you tell me which ones you like and which ones are your favorite. And then I do a drawing. These premiere on Sundays. So I do a drawing on Monday afternoon in my Facebook group. And somebody wins. If you commented which is your favorite card, somebody is going to win the drawing, and I will mail your favorite card to you, depending on which one that is. Whew, that was a lot, wasn't it? Okay, my friends, so I hope you enjoyed this Step It Up stamping. I will be back next week with another Step It Up stamping, but finally, the new annual catalog is out, so I will be able to show you all sorts of new catalog product over the next couple of weeks, and I'm really excited about what I've got coming up. So see you then. Have a great rest of your Sunday and a fabulous week, and I'll see you next weekend. Bye, friends.